already. We haven't even started. We got 3 likes. Fantastic. So, but I'm the one giving the likes, right? That's the way it should be. This is Friday Night Likes on a Sunday, as always, or at least as recently. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here. Thank you to my lovely guests who are here. This is the semi-finals in the Tournament of Champions. Let's get to our introductions. Who are you? Where are you? What are you drinking? Wally, let's start with you. Beautiful day in King of Prussia today, Wally. 61 degrees, which, as we know in metric, is warm.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to, my friend?
It's beautiful here. I'm Wally and from King of Prussia, and I've actually just been downtown helping my son. He's like holed up in a new apartment in downtown Philly. But anyway, I'm drinking. We're down to the bottom of the barrel here, and I'm drinking some Christmas gift ouzo. So that's where we are in the great state of Pennsylvania, where the liquor stores are still closed. So
Wally is giving us our weekly report out of whether or not the liquor stores are open.
Yeah.
You may have a while left, Wally. I'm going to boot you back, and let's get the other guys. Tommy, how you doing, fella?
Doing well, thanks, John. How are you?
Yeah, can't complain.
All things considered, it's getting tougher, isn't it? As it drags on and drags on, it's you just want things to get back to normal. So, hopefully this won't go on for too much longer. But all things considered, holding up well.
Good stuff. How do we reach you on social media? Are you drinking anything funny?
Not drinking anything funny unless, water. It's actually a strawberry flavored water that I get in one of the supermarkets, and it's actually so nice. So I'll just drink this stuff all day long. I love it.
That's beautiful.
No booze for me, I'm afraid. But
Tommy's got a soft side with the strawberry water. Who would have thunk it? Gina, how are you?
Yeah, good. So I'm Gena. I'm here in Denver, Colorado. Our liquor stores are open, as are our pot shops. They were deemed essential. I'm drinking water also. Had a Zoom happy hour last night, so a little dehydrated today.
There you go.
Yeah.
No hair of the dog for you then?
No. Later.
Fair enough. Katie, my neighbor, how are you?
That's right. I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm good. What are you up to? What are you drinking? How do we reach you on social?
What are we up to? So, as you said, beautiful day here in Philadelphia. As my father always says, when we have weather like this, it's a great day to be playing soccer. But unfortunately, no footy for us. So it's sad. But I am drinking the People's Punch today, Gatorade and vodka.
I'm glad to see you're drinking blue Gatorade, which is the only correct answer because all the rest of them taste like cat piss. So that is the only true answer.
Actually true.
Great.
Well, welcome everybody. Good to have you all. My name is John Nolan. You can reach me there at the thingy, other way, that one. This is Friday Night Likes. These guys are going to be answering questions about West Ham. If they make good points, they'll get a like from me. And the player with the most amount of likes by the end of the show wins and advances to the Gosh final. We've got that far. Dear God, we've been doing this forever now. Going to the final. That's what this is for. So everybody in the audience also gets to play a part here where at the end of the show we ask you who you think has won and who you vote for gets 2 extra likes. So that's actually how Ian Bishop advanced last time because Baz had him on the ropes, but Bish got 2 extra likes from the chat room. So anyway, let's get going. We'll get into question number 1. So rumors have emerged that the club may need to sell 3 big players to fund the shortfall in revenues. So my question to you is, what's the point of pushing this information to the fans? What's the point? Why do we need to know? Katie, let's start with you.
Okay, so I believe the rumor was started by the ex-WHU employee. And if it is true, I believe this is Sullivan's way of paving an agenda to hit up fans for extra costs and extra money. Do I believe that it's true? No. I think that, if Sullivan is saying this, he's pretty sensitive to fan criticism, and that could be why they're saying it is true. But he doesn't care. He does whatever he wants anyway. I don't think it's true. I think it's false reporting.
Gena.
I think it's a bit of a strategy to kind of mitigate disappointment. I think basically what the plan is. I also don't think it's necessarily true. But if you kind of put everybody in kind of crisis mode, we're going to have to sell a player, we're going to have to sell one of your favorite players, and then you don't, and instead you cut the transfer budget really far down, or you cut something else, then you kind of come out looking a bit good. Well, it's like, well, we saved you, Rice, or we saved you whoever. So I think they're looking to mitigate disappointment and then possibly look better later on, and kind of maybe buy some goodwill.
Tommy.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's been said there about Katie and Gena. Again, I agree with them. I don't think it's true. If it were true, what reason would they have to go public like this? Again, I think it would be to kind of get it to sink in with fans kind of before it happens. So, for example, if they weren't to say anything about this and then were just to sell those kinds of players in the summer and replace them with much cheaper, more inferior players, clearly there would just be an absolute revolt among the fan base. So it would possibly be an attempt just to head off that kind of thing, whereas if fans see it coming, they know it's coming, they complain now for a few weeks before it happens, and when it happens, then the fans are kind of burnt out and kind of just kind of resigned to it by that point. That's the only reason I would think you would actually go public with something like that.
So, is it true? Do you believe it? Are we going to have a flash sale of 3 of our bigger players this summer? Tommy, let's start with you.
It's possibly true that we'll lose a couple of our better players, but I don't think it would be in those circumstances exactly. It won't be just to cover club deficits in other areas to raise cash. I think, basically if we get a big bid in for Diop, I think they'd be willing to sell him. But I do think the money will be reinvested into replacing him and maybe getting another player or two in. Same with Anderson, same with Rice. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But I think every player is up for sale, but not in those circumstances, I don't think so. I don't believe that for a second. And frankly, even if that were true, it would just be idiotic to go public with it. I mean, why would you alert every other club who might be interested in players like that you're basically having a fire sale of your best players? It means you lower the value of what you're going to get for them. So everyone knows you have to sell to rebalance your books. And so then you're going to start getting these low ball offers, and clubs know you're going to have to haggle and drop the price down a bit. So it would just be nonsensical.
Well, West Ham's pretty good at that. Gena, is it true? Is it not true? Why or why not?
I don't think it's true, and I kind of for the same reasons Tommy said. Is I think that it's you're kind of showing too much of your hand. I think the way it's been released to us, which is by someone who funds rumors quite frequently, and they're usually right. But I think just the way it's gone about, I think it's not true, and it's probably just manipulative.
Katie.
Yeah, I agree with both Tommy and Gena. It's not true. I just think, honestly, everyone hasn't had anything to do the past couple weeks, so this is just a rumor, stirring up the pot. Now, I would say if we had to sell one between the three, I would pick Anderson. The reason being is the other two are younger. Anderson hasn't been as consistent. I also think that other players can easily be moved into his role. Gena, happy birthday. Today's his birthday. Shout out to him. I think even Holland or Lanzini, we can put him in there. So that's my thought on those three, but I don't think any of them are going.
Let's stay on that train.
It does smack of kind of, mischief making, because there's really not much else going on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's stay on that train of thought. I want to give you the other two guys. Katie, you already had a chance there with which one of the three? The names are Rice, Anderson, and Diop, right? Those are the ones we're hearing. So who would you sell if we had to, and why, if it was true? Gena.
So I'm going to be super controversial here, and I'm going to say I'd sell Rice. And the reason I'm going to sell Rice is because I think we could get a lot of money for him, and I think he's going to go anyways. I think he's somebody. Yeah, I think he's someone we'll lose. And I say, if we're going to lose him, why not lose him now when we could get a lot of money for him? At least reinvest the money. But I don't I used to be of the type. I used to think, oh, he's really tight with Mark Noble. He's going to be here forever. He's going to be our next captain. But I don't know. I've kind of started to see it.
I like the bold statement, Gina. And as we all know, Friday Night Lights is a show about bold opinions and not necessarily facts. Tommy, give me some opinions. Who are you selling?
Straight off the bat, Anderson can go. He's been really awful this season. I've been on the show before talking about this with Tim. There's one thing I can't stand is people pulling out of tackles. He pulls out of the soft ones too. These aren't, tackles where people are going in, studs up or anything like that. They're really hard tackles where you could understand someone might pull out of. These are on your feet tackles where you're just putting your foot in to try and win the ball, and he's pulling out of those. That's completely unacceptable. He gives the ball away constantly. And even when he gets into good positions, in and around the edge of the box, he's just not taking people on anymore. He's not going past people. He's not causing real problems. He tends to just turn back, play the ball back down the wing or inside. So Anderson, to me, is someone we can still get really good money for. He still has a high profile. He's still a sought-after player. Napoli apparently are interested, so we could get some money for Anderson. But just to go back to what Gena just said, I do agree with her in a sense. I mean, I wouldn't be looking to offload Rice or Diop, but every player has a price. Every player is for sale at the right price. And I think, you hear people sometimes, they say, oh, I wouldn't sell him. Yes, you would. If someone says that, I'll say to them, would you take 200 million for Rice? And they say, yeah, of course. I say, okay, now we've got this rubbish off the table that is not for sale. What is your limit money-wise that you would take for them? Because every player is for sale. If a bid came in, like Gena said, and it was a huge bid for Rice in the 80-90 million range, I think we'd be silly not to take it. Because you can, as long as that money is going back into the kitty where David Moyes can use it in the transfer window, then, you can retool very nicely. You can replace Rice and you can take 2 or 3 other very good quality players for other areas of the squad. So that money could go a long way. So
Katie's shaking her head. Katie,
yeah, I would
Rice?
sell any of them if the price was right, but particularly I'd be more eager to get rid of Anderson.
Katie, you get 20 seconds since you
Sure. So as quickly as I can, why would you take the heart out of a body and try and say the body's going to function? Okay. Rice is our heart. Okay. I don't think that we should lose him at all. Understand everyone comes at a price, but I think we can get more funds for Anderson for his quality right now. I think he's just been so inconsistent for us. We have players that can move into his role. And I think Hilaire with Bowen up top, that's what we've been waiting to see. And I think that they're going to produce for us. So we just don't need Anderson. Get rid of him.
Good points. I think we're all in agreement that nobody wants to see Rice leave. It's a question of what would it do to get him out the door? How much would it be to get him out the door? In fact, let's go round and just for our viewers' pleasure, what's the number on Rice? If that number came in that you had to take it at that number, what number is it, Tommy?
Anything north of 80. 80 million bid comes in. That's going to turn my head for Rice. I think that's great money. Again, on the proviso that money's going back into the transfer kit.
I was going to say 90. So yeah, I'm right about there.
Katie?
I believe the other night I said 78. So somewhere around there, I'd be happy.
That's so specific and not
Very
rounded.
Specific.
I know.
Yeah. All right. Well done. All right. We're going to move on to question number 2, kind of. They're like A, B, and C. 2. Marko Arnautovic has reared his head. Why did he make those comments? Why? What's going through his head? Is it his brother? Is it Marco? Who is it? What's going on? Gena?
I think his very nature, I think he's a troublemaker. I think he's a narcissist. I think he's a butthole. So I think he surely did it to get people talking. I think he did it in a forum where he knew West Ham people would be looking. So I think he just did it to be a jackass, to be honest.
That's a perfectly reasonable answer. Tommy?
Yeah, I'm not going to deviate much from that. Clearly, he's kept in touch with certain members of the squad since he left the club. Masueko, obviously, being one of them, saw the post and then just give this silly response. I think he would. come back to West Ham. I don't think it was entirely mischief making. He really expects to come back, but I think he would. So I think it was more of a flippant comment. I don't think there was anything. I don't think you should read into it. I don't think it means that he's going to come back, or that Moyes is even interested in bringing him back. Obviously it grew legs once. You know how it goes. People see a silly throwaway comment like that, and then just run with it and turn it into something it's not. I don't think he really meant anything by it, to be honest.
So it was off the cuff. Katie, agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, come on. Like I said, everyone has had nothing to do the past couple weeks. And honestly, I know the real reason why he's going to come back to West Ham. It's because he doesn't want to be near the wet markets. He's quite a fan of the Borough Market there in London. He also remembered that there's a group of mighty supporters in the great land right by the American Hammers Network. So in that network, they talk about pies, meat and apple pies, pizza. Is it Charlie Boy's Pizza or is it Ray's Pizza in New York? We don't know. There's a ton of different Rays in New York that we can't really figure it out. And also the legendary burger of #recall Big George. It has very little to do with the wages in China, but it's all about American Hammers TV. That's
Good
why it's
stuff.
coming back. Good
stuff. So you are not of the persuasion that he actually wants to come back to West Ham? Do you think he actually wants to come back? Why or why not?
I do. I think he's greedy. Everyone knows it. He just wants to come back for the money and the fame.
But he's got the money in China, doesn't he?
No, not. Most of the players are leaving due to lifestyle situations at this point.
Okay. Gena, do you want to come back to West Ham?
I think he wants to probably come back to the Premier League. I think he'd probably come back to West Ham. I think it's probably sucks in China right now, to be honest. I think it's probably one of those situations where there's a lot of money thrown around, but it's not exactly the same lifestyle as you're going to have in the UK. So I think you probably would absolutely want to come back to the Premier League. I mean, it is the Premier League to play in football. I don't know how to put it, but I mean, it's the top of the line, and China's just a place you kind of go to get put out to pasture and make a lot of money. So yeah.
But that's what he signed up for. He didn't know what he was signing up for.
I don't think he's very smart. So no, I'm not 100% sure he did.
He signed up for one thing and one thing only, and that was money.
Yeah.
He was willing to go to an obscure league with a language he didn't speak a word of, completely different culture, totally different society, and he did it all for the money. No one goes to the Chinese Super League for any other reason. But the problem with that is you have to live there. And you probably do, as a Westerner, you probably do feel completely like a fish out of water when you're over there. I don't imagine, it's a fun place for him to be, or that he feels particularly like he fits in. And after a while, I don't care how much you're earning. I mean, that's going to start grating on you, right? You're going to start pining more and more for home, right?
So would he come back?
More familiar surroundings. Oh, of course he would. He would come back, I think, to West Ham in a heartbeat. Look, he's been there long enough now that he's made a ton of money, and he knows that next contract over there isn't happening. He's going to leave because the new rules over there, you can't pay people obscene amounts of money over there anymore. They put a cap on. There's a transfer cap or a wage cap over there now. So I think he would move back to the Premier League. I think he wants to move at the very least back to Europe this summer. And so if West Ham or any other Premier League club came in and were able to thresh out a deal for him, I think he'd be on the first flight back.
Would you have him back, Tommy?
Not for a second. Absolutely no interest. Listen, he's made his bed and he can lie in it now, as far as I'm concerned. He was onto a good thing at West Ham. He was playing every week. He was playing well, scoring goals, idolized by the fans. I mean, what more? And let's be honest. Still being very well paid to do it. It's not like this guy was on a couple of grand a week. He was very well paid. This move was pure greed. So, and he kicked up such a fuss, and he was sneaky about it too. He came out there in January, like he'd completely changed his tune. He said, no, I'm going to stay. The club even kind of as a goodwill gesture, restructured his contract so they were giving him more money, more wages, and he's still kind of pissed off in the summer. It's between him and his brother Daniel. They're as bad as each other. So I think as a club we have to have some self-respect and some dignity, which he hasn't shown to us. So I think it would be ridiculous to just say, look, forget what happened. Don't worry about it. It's water under the bridge. Come on. I think that would be crazy. I think he should stew in it now.
Katie, would you have him back? Why or why not?
It's funny, Tommy mentions a club of self-respect. I don't seem to remember that being us with GSP out. But
just from my own point of view, I mean, if I'm in charge, he ain't coming back.
I would definitely say he is locker room cancer, but I would want him back. I think that he would be great up top with Bowen. I think that, finishing was our issue this year, and he's one of the finishers, and I would take him back.
Gena?
I would say no. Just because with him, it's like you never know who you're getting. It's like sometimes you get him and he's amazing and he's out there and he's really putting in a shift. There's other times you sit there and you watch him mope around the field. And so I just think at this point in time, I just wouldn't want him back. The other thing is the one thing I think that you really see as a recurring theme in West Ham is loyalty. Look at Mark Noble. Mark Noble basically, for his legs, they can't get into his mailbox anymore, apparently. But he's, noble by name, noble by nature. So we keep him. We keep him and whatever. And so I think that is something we really value. And he doesn't have that. He screwed over Stoke City. He screwed over us. He has a pattern of screwing over teams. He doesn't have the temperament. He's one of those people who's very, very skilled player, but I think his temperament is always going to get in his way.
Plus, of course, he's the wrong side of 30 now. So, his star is on the wane,
He's not getting better.
I don't see the upside for us in all of this.
He's sulky. He strops around. I agree with you, Gena. I think you never get the Arnie. You never know which Arnie you're going to get. He can be a lightning rod, or he could just be, I think Katie said, locker room cancer. I think he was that way when he started, going downhill. It was probably affecting all the players, to be honest, because he's such a big presence. But
we're so loyal that we brought Moyes back, so it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, we tripled.
We'll bring Arnie back too.
Well, Molly, you bringing Arnie back?
Oh yes, please. I love him. I want him to light a fire under Anderson's ass and also Aller's ass. And the season he and Anderson were together, I think all his gesticulating and stuff clearly brought out the best in Anderson. I didn't think at the time, but I think that will work. So bring him back.
It's a shame.
I'm sure he'll love being booed by fans every time he touches the ball.
If he would have stayed, this would be his team by now. He could have been that leader. We need leaders all across the pitch. He could have been one, but he pissed off. Anyway, Wally, how's everybody doing?
We have a close one here. We got Gena and Katie both tied on 9 likes, and Tommy in the lead with 11.
Ooh, yeah, that is close. That is close. All right. We're getting into the final question of the night. It's a 4-part question. Wally, I'm going to boot you again. So people in the audience, in the chat room, you can start to vote on who you think has won. Again, the chat room winner gets 2 extra likes. So there's only 2 likes in it so far. So this one could be really, really tight. 4-part question coming up. If the following players didn't play football, which niche sport would they be a star in instead? Let me repeat that one for everybody in the chat room. If the following players didn't play football, what niche sport would they be a star in instead? And we're going to start with Issa Diop and Gena. I'm coming to you.
That's a really hard one for him. Just looking at
I struggle as well if it helps.
What's that?
I struggle as well if it helps.
It's really hard. I'm just kind of looking at him. He looks like he'd be a good marathoner. He just has that real tall kind of lean build. I was just thinking marathoner. I don't know if that's really a niche sport. I mean, I've watched a few marathons. It's not for everybody to watch. It's pretty dull. So I'd say that's niche. Marathoner.
Yeah,
That's what I say.
It feels niche enough.
it's
Tommy?
niche. Yeah.
Tommy?
Sorry. Yeah, I had to think long and hard, like Gina. I thought Diop and Socek were really tough ones to think of. We barely know Socek. But yeah, I had to think long. And one of the things I did think about a runner actually, Gina. He's got those long legs. And,
Yeah.
he's rangy and his big strides. So I didn't depart a million miles from what you said, Gina. I actually thought he'd make a great high jumper. We've seen him, at West Ham. He's got a really good leap on him. He can get up there, to head balls clear. And I just pictured him, just running up and then doing this jump. And then I just imagined him in my mind as he's clearing the bar, just going, like he's heading a ball. And that was like his signature high jump move.
Katie, Issa Diop.
Yeah, Diop's tough. So I don't know if my mates over in the UK have heard of Hanson Mbop, but it was inspired by Diop because he's a doo-wop singer. So I think he's tall, skinny, and he could be a part of the a cappella group. So that's what I think his sport is.
It's not a sport at all, but you still get a thumbs
yes,
up
it is.
for the creativity on that one. I'll give it to you,
right.
Katie. That's pretty damn funny. Aaron Cresswell, let's start with you, Katie.
All right. Well, I think Cresswell, he is going to be a football kicker because Aaron Cresswell, he dressed well. So when he goes out for the Super Bowl games, he's got his nice suits on.
I don't even know what an answer that is. You get a thumb anyway. Oh, my God. We're losing it. Tommy.
Okay. I think because he's a Scouser, he would probably, I'm sure they must have a bin dipping championship. And I imagine he'd enter into that. So he'd be a very good bin dipper, I reckon.
He dressed well for it, though, according to Katie. Gina.
I think ice dancing because he's short. He's got very good hair.
I was going to say, Gina, he's got the hair for it. I can see it.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, every time I see him, I think he looks like an ice skater, but I think he probably maybe doesn't have the finesse for that quite there. So I'm thinking ice dancing. And England has a good history with ice dancing.
I could see him in the tight kind of leotard looking thing with the spangles all over it. Yeah, that's pure Cresswell. A jetty. Who have I not started with yet? Tommy.
Me. Yeah, I had to think about this one, but I think he would be like a hide and seek champion. It's like, because he's there somewhere, but you just never see him.
Fantastic. Gina.
So I think badminton. And the reason I think badminton, because I've only seen it a couple times. I've heard it's good from foreigners. Oh, my dog wants in. That's pretty much it. Basically, it's not something I've seen a lot, but I've heard it's good. I don't know.
Katie.
For a jetty, I believe that his sport would be lightsabers because I just feel like he's like Land of the Lost of jetties. You know what I mean?
I don't know what that is. No, I don't know what you mean at all.
Lightsabers, like.
No, I don't know, but I love how your mind works.
Like Star Wars when they have the lightsabers.
Oh, God. Like sabers or savers?
Sabers.
I don't know what's going on anymore. All right, last one. Thomas Souček. Katie.
Oh, Souček, I think he would be a great basketball player because like a Souček, like a sous chef, Souček would be dishing to the basket.
With the little service industry puns. Gina.
That's right.
I think cross-country skiing. I think because it looks really hard. And you tend to get tired watching it because that guy is like,
yeah,
that guy's a worker. He's a worker, and that's the hardest sport I could think of exercise-wise.
He probably runs like he's wearing snowshoes too. Like he's he's got a very strange gait. Thomas.
He does. He just looks like everything looks so hard. But I think I think he's a good worker though. So.
Oh, for sure, Tommy.
Yeah. Socek to me, he looks like a kind of a man's man. He looks like he's kind of a tough guy. You know, he's big and he's strong, and looks like whenever we see him on a pitch, looks like he means business. So I think he'd do like a real tough sport. So I thought, you know, that sport where like two people stand in front of each other and just slap each other as hard as they can in the face. I think that would be up Socek's street. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. I could see him in like what was that film Bloodsport back in the day where he like puts glue on his knuckles and then puts it into broken glass. That's definitely a street check kind of thing. Yeah.
He could have been Ivan Drago, couldn't he? From the Rocky movies, instead of Dolph Lundgren, he could have stepped in. You know.
Fantastic. Wally, how did everybody do?
Oh wow, we had a close one today, boy.
Oh my gosh.
We have Gena and Katie tied after regular time with 13, and Tommy in the lead with 15. But the chat room vote goes to Katie. It's 15, so we got Tommy and Katie tied after regular.
Going to extra time.
Yes.
God, I didn't prepare an extra time question. Do we have one from the chat room? Or Wally, you got one?
Yeah.
Let's all take a minute to think about it. Gena, let me put you in the green room. Let's get these guys on.
I knew it, Tommy.
This is so much easier when there's actually games. Now I've got to actually think about it.
Yeah.
How can you not have a tiebreak question?
Because I'm not prepared, Tommy. I'm not.
This has happened before, I'm sure.
Yeah, I know, and I wasn't prepared then either.
Yeah, but you usually came up with one quickly. So.
Oh God. All right.
How about a question on the life and times of Irish Tommy?
I think Katie'd still win that one.
She probably would.
How about a cheesesteak question? Where to get the best cheesesteak?
Oh, that's very biased. That's very biased.
Poor Tommy wouldn't know.
I've got no chance.
Here we go. Foshizi has mentioned Jordan Hugo, and we know it's Charlie Walsh's favorite in the bank. Wally, I'm going to keep you around, right? I'll just keep you on screen here for a second, and I'm not going to throw any likes. And maybe let's put this one up to the chat room, so the chat room gets to decide who's going into the semi-finals. This is far too much pressure for me. I got to tell you.
Right.
It's more democratic. I like that.
Yeah.
Jordan Hugo, bring him back if we stay in the Premier League. Give me your top 2 reasons why we should or should not bring him back. So you've got to be one side of the fence, and you've got to tell me why we should bring him back. Wally, you decide who goes first. Super Democrat.
I'll have Tommy go first.
Okay, so I'm arguing which side that we should bring him back.
Whichever you want. Do you?
I can decide.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can both decide. But give me 2 reasons. Your best 2 reasons why or why not we should bring him back. This is shout out to Charlie Walsh.
Charlie will never talk to me again, but we should not bring him back to West Ham. First reason is, I think, the most important one. I just don't believe he's a Premier League level striker. I think he is at his level in the Championship. I don't believe he would really score goals in the Premier League. And if, we're going to have someone like Haller go down injured, Hugo is not the kind of player I think we need to be relying on for 6 weeks or 2 months while Haller would be out injured. I don't think he's up to the standard. And I think that's the main and best reason why we shouldn't bring him back. Another reason is, although he's not worth a whole lot of money, we still can get something for him. We can get some few million because he has been playing well for QPR. I'm sure they would be quite eager to take him on full time. So I think we could make some few millions there that maybe there's another player we're looking at that we need to raise funds to help bring into the club, and that would help us to do that. It would add to the transfer kitty. So don't bring him back.
Katie, you ready to bring him back or not?
No, I would not bring him back. His injury is just, groin tears are just really tough. Along the lines of hip stuff, like Tim talks about, it's extremely tough to come back from all that, the pain and everything. I don't think we should bring him back. In addition to that, I think that we're strong enough up top right now that I don't think he'll bring enough value. I think that, he's going to remain injured. He doesn't have enough time to really kind of recoup himself. So I just don't think he's a good fit for us right now. I would sell him.
Chat room, get your votes in. Did Katie make the most convincing argument, or did Tommy? Wally, where do you stand on Jordan Hugo? Would you bring him back?
Charlie.
I clearly need to bring him back. It
Yes,
would make Charlie Walsh so happy that the joy would just spill over all over London, all the way to America, to Philadelphia. The ecstasy of Charlie Walsh. I need to see that. So I would bring him back just for Charlie.
That's a lot of love there, Wally. Chat room,
Yeah.
get your votes in. Did Katie win or did Tommy win?
Devil's
Would they
advocate here,
respond?
though, Charlie Walsh. If he is worth 300 million, why can't we sell him?
Who's worth 300 million? Jordan Hugo?
That's what Charlie Walsh said.
Oh, Charlie Walsh is high. That's a ridiculous number. If he was worth 300 million, he'd be starting for us. Or actually, he'd be starting for Barcelona.
Hugo's not worth a Hugo at this point.
Right, you're absolutely correct.
So he's worth half a Hugo, maybe.
I know. Well, when we were doing Name Your Price the other evening, he said he was worth 3 million.
I don't think I'd have him back.
300 million. Yeah.
I agree with Tommy. I think he'd be a good fit at QPR, it seems like. Now, if we got relegated, I think it's good to keep him around. He seems to be knocking in goals at his level, so we could certainly use somebody like that. And we're going to have a big clear out if we do end up going down. So hopefully this whole season is cancelled. Anyway, Wally, you've been checking the chat room. How's that gone?
Yeah, Tim has very kindly been tabulating the chat room, and I actually got a vote in the chat room, which I appreciate. But according to Tim, the chat room goes to Katie. So
all right, thank you.
Katie wins.
Overall winner.
The fix is in.
Thank
Katie
you, Tommy.
Showing Wally her rum.
That's right. Here it is, Wally. Coming your way.
You get your booze after all, Wally.
Yeah, look at this. It's totally empty. A little bottle is totally empty.
The fix is in completely. But all right, well done. Let me. I'm going to boot Wally and Tommy and Katie. You get to address the West Ham faithful in the chat room with anything that you want to tell them in these times of coronavirus and without West Ham. What's your message for the chat room going into the final? Are you ready for the final? Are you prepared?
I don't know. I think Ian Bishop, he's going to come in and he's going to be hot. I think I have some things up my sleeve. We'll see. I never thought I would agree with Karen Brady, thinking that we should terminate this season, but I do. Things are crazy. When do I ever agree with Karen Brady? So I'm excited for the final. Ian Bishop, I'm coming for you. Watch out.
He hasn't won his semi yet, so we'll have to see how that goes first, Katie. Let's not get to any conclusions. Listen, like I said, he was behind before until the chat room came in and gave him an extra 2 points. So more the reason to tune in. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. Please tune in next time. We'll have our other semi-final. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Gena. Thank you, Tommy.
Absolutely.
Thank you, King Wally of Prussia. It's been great having you.
I just
all.
want to say, to be magnanimous, well played, Gena. And excuse me. And congratulations. I'm throwing a strop. I'm doing an Arnautovic. Well played, Gena. Great stuff. And congratulations, Katie, and best of luck in the final.
Thanks, guys.
I hope you go on and win it now, so I can say I was beaten by the winner.
It was a great game by everyone. That was a close one. Thank you so much. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, please hit subscribe. Come back, join us every Sunday for Friday Night Likes. I don't know. Maybe we'll change the name. Who knows?
Sunday Night Likes.
But good to see everybody. Thank you all. And thanks to the chat room. We'll catch you next time. Come on, you Lions.
Bye.
Come on, you Lions, guys.